Ren Voss arrived on a Tuesday in October, 3 weeks into the semester, when every friend group at Eastbridge High had already hardened into place like cement left too long in the sun. Mrs. Whitfield said her name twice because the new girl didn't react the first time. She just sat there with her hands folded on the desk, watching the ceiling fan turn as though she'd never seen anything quite like it. When she finally stood to introduce herself, she did it without the shuffle-footed embarrassment everyone expected. She simply said, "I'm Ren," and sat back down, spine straight, eyes forward, as still as a photograph. Maya Patel watched from 2 rows back and thought, "She doesn't blink enough." It wasn't a kind thought, but it wasn't unkind either. It's true, the way you notice a clock running 2 minutes fast without caring much. Maya filed it away and went back to her notes. Brielle Hart noticed something else. "Did you see her backpack?" Brielle whispered at lunch, loud enough to carry. "It's got like a drawstring." Who has a drawstring backpack in 11th grade? By Thursday, Ren's backpack had a name, the potato sack, and by the following Monday, somebody had written alien in green marker on the back of her jacket while she stood at her locker, and the hallway had laughed in that bright, relieved way people laugh when the joke isn't on them. Ren never seemed to notice, or if she noticed, she never seemed to mind. She wore the jacket again the next day. The word was still there, half scrubbed, a ghost of green ink across her shoulders. Maya thought that should have embarrassed anyone. It didn't seem to touch Ren at all. That was almost the strangest part, not the things the class did to her, but the fact that none of it landed. Brielle called her the alien to her face, in the lunch line, hoping for tears or a flush of red. Ren only tilted her head a fraction, like a bird hearing a new bird song, and said, "That's an interesting choice of word," and walked on with a tray of food she never seemed to actually eat. Maya started watching her on purpose after that. She noticed the small things first. The way Ren wrote in her notebook, not notes, not doodles, but a private, looping script that curled in on itself, written quickly, like someone taking dictation from a voice just out of earshot. The way Ren's eyes, gray as November rain, would fix on anyone crying in the hallway, or anyone laughing too hard at someone else's expense, and hold there a beat too long, cataloging something. The way, in early November, Maya found her kneeling in the dirt behind the science building during a free period, cupping a sparrow with a wing bent at a wrong, sickening angle. "It hit the window," Ren said, not looking up. Maya crouched beside her, half out of pity for the bird, half because she didn't know how else to leave. She watched Ren's hands close gently around the small, trembling body, and watched, with a feeling like the floor tilting, the wing straighten itself beneath her fingers over the space of 4 or 5 breaths. Not healed exactly, just unbroken, as if the break had been a misunderstanding, and Ren had simply explained it out of existence. The bird flew off into the gray sky a minute later. "You should probably wash your hands," Ren said, and that was all. Maya didn't tell anyone. She wasn't sure what there was to tell, or who would believe her, or what it might cost Ren if they did. Instead, she started sitting 1 seat closer at lunch. She started saying hi in the hallway, just to see if Ren would say it back, which she always did, evenly, like the word had been waiting in her mouth. The bullying didn't stop. If anything, Brielle escalated, the way people do when cruelty isn't getting the reaction they were promised. She started a video account, eastbridge.alien. Girl, built entirely out of clips of Ren standing too still, blinking too little, murmuring her looping script under her breath at her locker like a prayer in a dead language. The comments were not kind. Ren never asked Maya to stop watching, and never asked her to make it stop either. She seemed, if anything, mildly curious about the account's growing follower count, the way someone might be curious about weather they had no power to change. "Doesn't it bother you?" Maya finally asked, in the second week of December, the two of them alone in the library. Ren considered the question with the seriousness she gave everything. "I'm not here very long," she said. "I'm only watching." "Watching what?" But the bell rang, and Ren only smiled, a small, sad, ancient sort of smile, and didn't answer. Spirit Week landed the 3rd week of January, and Brielle Hart, student council social chair, had been planning something for a month. "We're doing a welcome royalty bit," she told her friends, grinning. "And guess who's getting crowned?" The plan was simple and, to Brielle, hilarious. Call Ren on stage during the all-school assembly under the pretense of an honor, then dump a bucket of cafeteria slop, rigged on a rope through the lighting truss above the stage, over her head in front of 400 students. Brielle had even rehearsed her announcer voice in the bathroom mirror. Maya heard about it 2 days beforehand and tried to warn Ren, breathless, in the science hallway. Ren only nodded slowly, like she already knew, like she'd known since October. "You don't have to go up there," Maya said. "I know." Ren said. I'm going anyway. The gymnasium was packed Friday afternoon, fluorescent banners swinging, the pep band warming up off-key. Maya sat near the back, stomach in knots, watching Brielle near the stage steps, phone already raised to record. When Ren's name was called, she walked up without hesitation, calm as still water, while the gym rippled with laughter that hadn't even started yet, laughter waiting on its punchline. The bucket released exactly on cue. What no one had accounted for was the truss itself, old, over-rigged, never built to anchor a stunt, and the way the sudden yank of rope tore a bracket loose 40 feet above the crowd. A length of steel lighting rig, heavy as a car door, broke free and began to fall, not toward the stage, but toward the front row, where Brielle stood laughing with her phone still raised, completely unaware of the shadow growing across her upturned face. 400 people had time to scream, and not enough time to move. Maya would spend the rest of her life trying to describe what happened next and never quite manage it. Ren, soaked, slop dripping from her hair, 20 feet away on the stage, simply was suddenly where the truss was falling. Not running, not jumping. There, and then there, the air between the 2 points folding like a page turning. For one impossible second, the whole gymnasium seemed to hold its breath inside a still photograph, the truss frozen an inch above Brielle's skull, Ren's hand flat against the steel, her gray eyes gone wide and bright and full of something like distant starlight, her hair lifting in a wind that wasn't touching anyone else in the room. Then the truss tipped sideways, harmlessly, clattering into the empty aisle. The lights stuttered. Somewhere a teacher was already shouting for everyone to stay calm. And Ren stood there, perfectly ordinary again, slop still dripping off her chin, looking down at Brielle with an expression that wasn't triumph, and wasn't anger, only a soft, tired kind of sorrow, the look of someone closing a book whose ending they'd already known. "You're welcome," she said quietly, and walked off the stage before the screaming had even properly started. The official story by Monday was adrenaline, a freak surge of human strength, the kind that lets mothers lift cars off their children, the kind no one examines too closely because the alternative is unbearable. Brielle didn't post any more videos. She didn't say alien again, not once, not even when she apologized to Ren in the hallway, in a voice so small Maya almost didn't recognize it. Maya found Ren behind the science building 2 days later, in the same patch of dirt where the sparrow had been. "You're leaving," Maya said. It wasn't a question. "My time here is finished," Ren said. "I came to see what was left in people, after everything easier had already been tried first. Cruelty's an easy thing to give. I needed to know if anything harder was still in there too. And?" Ren looked at her for a long moment, gray eyes soft in the failing light. "You sat with me," she said. "That was harder. That was enough." She pressed something small and warm into Maya's palm, a flat gray stone, faintly humming, like a held breath, and by the time Maya looked up to ask what it meant, the space where Ren had been standing held only the wind, and a single sparrow watching her from the fence, before it lifted into the darkening sky and didn't come back. Ren's desk sat empty on Wednesday. By Friday, someone else had claimed it, and no one but Maya seemed to remember there had ever been a girl who never blinked enough, sitting there, watching them all so carefully, taking notes in a language none of them could read.